You know, you're going to have to excuse me for a minute because I need to look for some tissues and I need to look for the world's smallest violin. The audacity. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you're all doing well. To all of my house guests, come in, make yourselves at home, make yourselves comfortable. And to all of you visiting my channel for the first time, you're very welcome. If you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. I had produced a video last weekend, ready to upload a few days ago. And then I had to scrap it because so much has happened in the last few days. It seems that King Charles has been especially busy very recently. So last week, various media outlets reported that Harry and Meghan had been evicted from Frogmore Cottage. Other media outlets reported that they had been asked to vacate the property. So before we go any further, I just want to, for the record, give the dictionary definition of an eviction. So, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, eviction is a noun which means the act of forcing someone to leave somewhere, especially their home. One of the examples given is after falling behind with his mortgage payments, he now faces eviction from his home. Now, I know that all of my house guests are very intelligent people, so I think we can all agree that no eviction has taken place. Harry and Meghan are not exactly destitute. I think they can pay their way. So the more realistic term would be that they've been asked to vacate the property. Being asked to vacate, or more accurately, surrender the property, makes sense because the couple no longer live in the UK. Frogmore Cottage was gifted to Harry and Meghan in 2018 by the Queen when they were married. They've only been living there for 6 months, and then the property was renovated. Shortly after renovations, they relocated to North America, and they use Frogmore Cottage as a base when they're in the UK. It makes no economic sense for them to continue to have that property if they're not here. So I don't see anything wrong with Charles asking them to do that. And I don't, from what I've seen online, they're not really that bothered. And furthermore, if a landlord is going to evict a tenant, it's very unlikely that they're going to be concerned about where they go next or whether they have alternative accommodation. Rachel Burfield from Marie Claire has written a piece which clearly shows an alternative. Amidst Frogmore eviction, King Charles will apparently offer Prince Harry and Meghan Markle an apartment at Buckingham Palace. The game of royal residence musical chairs continues as The Independent reports that King Charles is set to offer the Sussexes an apartment at Buckingham Palace, a suite of rooms that, in a weird coincidence, once belonged to Andrew. This will allow Harry, Meghan and their 2 children, Archie and Lilibet, to have a home base in the UK where they can stay when they visit, which is increasingly rare and likely to remain so as tensions continue between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family. The outlet reports that Charles sees the Buckingham Palace apartment offer as an olive branch. His Majesty is furious with Harry, as is Prince William, a source speaking to the Mail on Sunday says, per The Independent, but the King is not a bad man. He has no wish to see his brother Andrew homeless or penniless, nor does he wish to deprive the Sussexes of a base in the UK. Frogmore is in Windsor, while Buckingham Palace is in the heart of London. The source says that, for Harry and Meghan, London is a better fit. The Sussexes have always wanted rooms at Buckingham Palace. They could have Andrew's old rooms there, which are currently being vacated. Earlier this year, the outlet reports, Charles reportedly told Andrew he could no longer use his suite of rooms at the palace. Speaking of Andrew, Charles has also evicted him from his current residence, which is Royal Lodge, also located in Windsor. However, Andrew is adamant that he doesn't want to move. He's been very resistant. He's throwing a tantrum. He's thrown all his toys out the pram. Like Charles has offered Harry and Meghan an alternative property, Andrew's been offered Frogmore Cottage. Frogmore is a downgrade as far as he's concerned. Now, for your information, for those of you who don't know, Royal Lodge is a 30-room property which also includes 7 bedrooms. Andrew and his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson have been living there for the last 20 years. Frogmore Cottage, prior to renovations, was a 10-bedroom property. It now has 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. But, you know, Andrew's really upset. This article is from the Irish Mirror on the 19th of February. Prince Andrew and Fergie distraught at threat of eviction from £30 million Royal Lodge. Prince Andrew and his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson may be ordered to leave their £30 million Windsor home by the summer and are said to be distraught after being given just a few months' notice. The claims emerged as King Charles is set to slash the Duke of York's annual £249,000 income, with Andrew reportedly telling his friends he might be unable to afford the property's running costs. Andrew had previously been warned that his income may be cut when a senior royal made a joke over Christmas saying, "We will kick Andrew out of the house." The Duke is said to be shocked to learn that his annual grant would be cut from April and that he may be required to leave Royal Lodge, where he has been living with his ex-wife Sarah, Duchess of York, by the summer. A source told The Sun, Andrew and Sarah are distraught that they have been given such short notice. The Queen only died a few months ago. He is not being explicitly kicked out, but it's expected that he won't be able to afford the maintenance. Before the late Queen's death last year, Andrew is said to have relied on her generosity, surviving on private funds from the Duchy of Lancaster, last reported at £249,000 a year. The royal estate is now owned by King Charles, with members of the family all told to expect tighter budgets moving forward. A cut to Andrew's income will see him having to rely on his Navy pension alone. But despite his income being cut down, it is understood that the King will not leave his brother, Andrew, homeless or penniless. A source said this is about Charles telling Andrew he can use his own money to pay for things. Royal Lodge was leased to Prince Andrew following the Queen Mother's death. Along with the main house, the lease included the gardener's cottage, the chapel lodge, 6 lodge cottages, police security accommodation, and a whopping 40 hectares of land. He was required to pay for any renovations himself, which reportedly were in the region of £7.5 million. In 2004, he then moved into Royal Lodge with his 2 daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, and soon after, so did Fergie. You know, you're going to have to excuse me for a minute because I need to look for some tissues and I need to look for the world's smallest violin. The audacity. How are you going to complain about moving into what potentially could be described by the ordinary man in the street as a mansion? Furthermore, Charles plans to cut Andrew's annual allowance of £249,000. I don't know what the figure is yet, but this is what this man was receiving on an annual basis, just to live life. Okay? I need to point out that Andrew, Prince Andrew, Charles's younger brother, is a 63-year-old grandfather. For his entire life, he's never wanted for anything. He's not had to struggle like the majority of us. He's not had to scrimp and save. He's not had to go out and look for a job. He's always been given things. But this man is actually complaining because his brothers asked him to move from effectively a stately home into a mansion, and his pocket money is being cut. This is the world that they live in, people. This is why I refer to it as a soap opera. And I also need to remind you, if you didn't already know, we, the UK taxpayers, are funding Andrew's lifestyle via the sovereign grant. The way that he lives his life is funded by me, and it's funded by you if you're living in the UK, if you're a UK taxpayer. None of us in the UK are funding Harry and Meghan's lifestyle. And it makes me question again, why is the reaction to him so muted, almost like crickets and tumbleweed when you talk about him, but there can be a big explosion as soon as you mention Harry and Meghan's names. Everyone is whipped up into a frenzy. We're not supporting their lifestyle. And, you know, I will always question it. As long as it's like this, I will always question why things are like this. And it leads me to suspect that there is an agenda that they want to suppress. There's something that's going on in the background with Andrew, purely my opinion. So as long as they keep the heat on Harry and Meghan, I've alluded to this before, as long as they keep the heat on them, they won't look too much at Andrew. Remember, Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. She's got information. If she's not revealed the information yet, again, purely my opinion, they've basically made her the scapegoat and promised her stuff. This is just what's going on in my head. So don't bother to come and sue me for anything. These are just my opinions. You know, other people have speculated. I'm just thinking out loud. It's not fact, okay? But it just makes me wonder what is really going on in the background. So with one hand, Charles is pushing people out of their properties, and with the other hand, he's elevating their statuses. Because earlier this week, Prince Edward, his youngest brother, has been given the title of Duke of Edinburgh, which was his father's title. His wife Sophie has been given the title Duchess of Edinburgh, and their son James has been given the title Earl of Wessex, which previously belonged to his father Edward. In addition to that, Harry and Meghan's daughter Lilibet has had her christening. That took place exactly a week ago today. And everyone went mad because she's now been given the title Princess. They christened her Princess Lilibet Diana. One journalist who, in my opinion, without being disrespectful, has a lot going on in her personal life, but she actually had the energy to highlight a discrepancy made when Harry and Meghan's spokesperson said that it was an archbishop that christened this child as opposed to a bishop. Kate Garraway calls out royal couple for Lilibet christening claim. The presenter pointed out a factual inaccuracy in the couple's statement. Good Morning Britain presenter Kate Garraway has pointed out a factual inaccuracy in the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's statement announcing their daughter Lilibet's christening last week. The TV host said that the bishop who christened the 21-month-old princess was not an archbishop, as confirmed by Prince Harry and Meghan's spokesperson. Meanwhile, Prince Edward has been named the new Duke of Edinburgh, taking his late father's title. His wife Sophie is now the Duchess of Edinburgh, and their son James is the new Earl of Wessex. It comes as Buckingham Palace officially updated the royal family's website to reflect the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's children's new titles. Questions over whether the couple will attend the King and Queen Consort's coronation are still hanging over the occasion. A spokesperson for Harry and Meghan told The Times that they have received email correspondence about the coronation, but no decision has been disclosed about whether they will accept the invitation or not. And staying on the topic of that christening, it would appear that Charles, Camilla, William and Kate were indeed invited to that event. However, they declined, and again, the media spun it like it was a snub. So much so that the royal family have had to issue a tweet on their account to explain the reasons why they were not able to attend. They actually listed the events that coincided with that event. So clearly, this never complain, never explain policy applies sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. Now, if you cast your mind back to earlier this year, I think it was January, when King Constantine of Greece died, Charles and William did not attend that event either. Now, King Constantine is a cousin, from what I remember, of Charles, and he's also William's godfather. For those of you who live outside of Europe, Greece is about 3 to 4 hours away, and I think they're 1 hour ahead of us. So it's equivalent to, you could take a trip to Paris in the same amount of time and be back the same day. Okay, so it's a quick turnaround, no jet lag. That trip is fairly easy to do. So I guess that's why they asked Princess Anne to attend that, to represent them. Conversely, California is thousands of miles away. Different time zone. The potential for jet lag is up there. Okay. So me personally, if I were invited to a family christening that was so far away, honestly, even if I didn't have a schedule clash, I wouldn't go, because it's not practical. It wouldn't be practical for me to do that. If it was a series of events taking place over a course of a week, yes, I would consider it. But for one singular event to go all that way, it's not practical. So I'm not going to be downing, Charles, Camilla, William and Kate for not going, even if they didn't have any clash in their schedule. I think the point that I'm making is they did. If they're going to have this never complain, never explain policy, why doesn't it apply all the time? Or is it getting to the stage where they want the public to view them in a favourable light, so they now realise the damage that they've done by not speaking out about certain things, not actually voicing their side of things, if that makes sense. Again, this is how the mainstream media operates, because I think to myself, okay, why did you have to put a negative spin on it? They Harry and Meghan weren't snubbed. Their daughter wasn't snubbed by their relatives. It was simply a clash of schedule. It was simply a clash of dates. But what you have to be reminded of is that the media have to put a negative spin on stories, especially when it comes to Harry and Meghan, because if they don't, they don't generate income. They generate their income with a simple headline, a click. For every click, they generate money, because that means ad revenue for them. For every story that's in the newspapers, when you go to the newsagent, that's someone paying, I don't know how much newspapers cost now in this country, let's say £1. For every story that they see on the front page, that's £1. For the millions of people that buy those papers on a daily basis, that's millions of pounds. So it's in their interest to tell, contrived stories, even though the explanation is to the contrary and it's very simple. So let's conclude with what happened on Monday. And this actually happened while I was editing. All of this stuff happened while I was editing the original video. So there's this guy called Jeremy Vine, who's a presenter. He's on our Channel 5. I've never watched any of his shows, and this only came to my attention when I was doing a bit of research on the internet, and people complaining because a lady called into his show and he didn't challenge her when she said this.
Kath in West Yorkshire, hello. Go on, Kath.
No, I think if he cares anything about his father, he should stay away. He shut his mouth off about killing 25 Taliban. Well, he may not have seen anything of Taliban yet, but they will bide their time and they will get him.
Well, they might try. Do you think they might try at the coronation?
I think it's a damn good place for them to try.
Well, there's a lot of security there,
I don't give a damn about Harry and Meghan, but there'll be a lot of the British public there. They will also be at risk.
OK, Kath, thank you.
So, guys, as I wrap up this video, I have a few questions for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the date of the coronation, which, as one of you kindly reminded me in this video, May the 6th, is also Archie's 4th birthday? So do you think that that date was chosen purely by coincidence as an oversight? Or do you think it was chosen deliberately so that Harry and Meghan would have to make a decision as to whether to stay in California and celebrate their son's birthday or come over to the UK and not really fully celebrate that occasion? Or do you think that Charles did it deliberately so as to subtly include his third grandson? So historically, when people look back, they'll see that the two occasions happened on the same date. Because he knows invariably that he will never likely develop a relationship with his third grandson because geographically it's impossible. And when it comes to Andrew, do you think the criticism of him is muted, whatever he does, in direct contrast to Harry and Meghan, who, whatever they do, as you could see with them saying that it was an archbishop that had christened Lilibet when it was really a bishop. I mean, what would concern me more is if it were a minister that had christened this child and he had fake credentials. Then that's a story. I don't know. I mean, that's how ridiculous it is. And I don't want to go on about Kate Garraway, but as I said, she's got issues in her own personal life. So I don't know where she's found the energy to dredge this up. That's the only thing you could put your finger on. That's the only thing you could put your finger on. I've never had anything bad to say about Kate, and I'm not going to start now. It's like, what was that for? What was that for? And then finally, do you agree with the caller that rang into Jeremy Vine's show with regard to Harry and Meghan turning up, presenting a higher security risk because of what he mentioned in his memoir? Or do you think the security risk would have been at that level anyway because of who they are? I'd be interested to know your thoughts in the comments. If this video provoked your thoughts in any way, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and activate all of your notifications. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and you should catch me in the next video.
I am on a diet, boo. I am no longer eating anybody's BS, their negative energy, and other bitches' problems.